Hi, welcome to our Change program. And today we are going to introduce to you wonderful people from our community who are helping our seniors and helping our community in so many ways. You will find out now. I will ask you, Terry, please introduce your company and your last name.
I will. Thank you, Kieran. My name is Terry Gepner, and I am with Pathway Senior Living. I'm the Community Relations Director. And Pathway Senior Living is a company that has 11 supportive living communities for seniors and 6 senior apartment communities. And actually, we're building number 12 up in Vernon Hills right now in Lake County.
Congratulations.
And we combine housing and services for seniors 65 and over who can't live safely in their home any longer. Meals, housekeeping, laundry, social activities, and then the medical model with nursing and CNAs. What is very unique about supportive living is we have a financial safety net.
And how about you, Amy? You represent?
I'm Amy Barnacle. I'm the Marketing Director at Arden Courts. Arden Courts is a very unique community because we're a memory care community. So what we do is help residents and families who are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. So we're specifically dedicated to providing quality nursing care in a home-like environment for people struggling with memory care.
And you, Bethany?
My name is Bethany Miller, and I work for Manor Care of Elk Grove Village. And Manor Care is one of the largest subacute centers in the country. We have 18 Manor Cares in the Chicagoland area and over 500 within the nation. What we do is we provide skilled nursing and rehab for people healing from injury or illness after hospitalization.
You will surprised to know that these companies are in Elk Grove Village, but this is the really great community. They are all related to Chamber Barn. They come there, they present their program, and they help our seniors so much. That is the reason that I have invited them and want to introduce to you that if something you need, you can call them. And it is not that they are in Elk Grove Village or Hoffman Estate. We all work together. And our motto is working together to make a difference. I will ask Terry that how long your company is in existence, how long this company is providing services to seniors.
For about 13 years. We opened the very first Victory Center in Joliet 13 years ago.
And how about you, Amy?
Arden Courts has been around for almost 16 years. The Elk Grove Village location was actually the first one in Chicago, and we just celebrated our 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations. And how about Bethany?
Manor Care in Elk Grove has been there for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary as well.
Wow, so you can see everybody is in a celebration mood, and it is showing that how successful these companies are because, as I said, we work together to make a difference. One thing I want to know that what is your role in your company and how you are reaching out to seniors? Terry?
My role is to be out into the community and educate seniors and their families about supportive living and the different services that we have to offer. Because it is so unique in the marketplace, the word supportive could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. So my role is to call on senior centers like yourself, Kieran, park districts, Manor Cares, Arden Courts, to let the medical community know about how we can help seniors.
And Amy, what is your role in your company?
My role has a lot to do with education. Alzheimer's and dementia is a very hard disease process, and a lot of people don't fully know about it. And, so my job is to really get out there, help families, provide them with resources, help them with their assisted living options, which is what we do. So getting out to doctors, hospitals, community centers like you, and really talking more about memory loss and how we can still help.
And what a coincidence, because November is the month of Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And here we are talking about that. So how somebody can come and you relate to that, okay, this person can come to you.
how someone is qualified for us? Well, usually the first step is that they see a doctor and get a diagnosis of whether it be Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. There's about 90 different forms of dementia out there, so that's the first step, is to get a specific diagnosis, and then they come to us and we can help with any form of dementia, whether it be Alzheimer's or Lewy body or vascular dementia. There's a lot of different things out there, so that's part of my job, is to help educate people.
Very good. And Bethany, what is your role in your company?
I do a couple of different things. Some of the things I do is I'll go to the hospital and assess a patient and make sure that they're appropriate to come to a skilled nursing center. I also do educational roles. I'll go out and do different things in the community, have a doctor give a presentation on various different topics. And we have different educational roles over at Manor Care. We'll do a lunch and learn, usually on a monthly basis.
Now, when you say you go there in hospitals to see how the patient is appropriate to come to your Manor Care, what is the qualification to being appropriate?
Usually if somebody's suffering from an illness or an injury, or if they've had, for example, a knee replacement and they need rehab to go home, they have to be considered skilled under Medicare. So some of the things that qualify a patient is 3 midnights in a hospital, or if somebody's had a fall and they can't quite go home. There's many different things that'll qualify somebody to come into Manor Care.
Very good. So now we know that these companies, how they are helping us and how they are working to help our seniors. So seniors, please do not worry about that, because really in this great community, you are in good hands. And I will ask Terry for suppose somebody is coming to you and say, I don't want to live in my house because you are providing supportive living and I need your support. That is the
correct.
The definition is there?
Supportive living. It's for a senior who can't live safely in their home any longer. For example, Karen, they're not cooking for themselves and making well-balanced meals, or they need help with housekeeping, laundry. They're not able to the upkeep. Another big reason why people come to our communities is they're forgetting to take their medication, or they're taking it more times than they should.
No, what I'm trying to say for supportive, that you will support me with financially everything.
That goes along with it also, right. The financial safety net, what that means is if someone depletes their funds or outlives their funds, they don't leave our places. So what a nice benefit for the senior and for their family. Great peace of mind.
But suppose you deal with, Medicare, Social Security, right? Medicaid, okay. But suppose I am not 65 and I need support.
Okay.
And I can come to you, or you say, no, you are not 65?
Well, our different communities are 65 and over, but what I can do is lead you to a community that is for under 65 years of age that could help you.
What is the definition on? So I think it's a really very interesting topic, that how I am not 65, but I want to have supportive living. How I can go there. When I come back, I'll let you know on that. Welcome back. As I was talking to you, that how I can go not being 65 to this supportive living facility. Is there any cost to come to your facility? You have any entrance fee?
No, we have no community fee whatsoever. Our monthly cost does not change as people take on more services. So that's nice because, in planning ahead. You did ask about under 65. Just wanted to let your viewers know about the Illinois website for supportive living. So that has all the supportive livings listed, and there would be ones on there for people under 65.
Very good. And Amy, how about you? If suppose somebody is not capable to come, how you can help that person? Does the money part, is there any cost on that?
Well, we help people. I mean, we have a lot of great free resources out there for people wanting to know more about memory loss. We have a great resource library at Arden Courts. We provide the assisted living portion where people come and live with us. We also do short-term respite stays. So if people need to come to us for a short time, they can. And we do not have an age limit in our community. A lot of times with early onset Alzheimer's or frontal temporal dementia, we'll see people who are younger, who are maybe even in their 40s, who can still come live with us.
Did you experience that somebody's less than 40 years or very young person came to your facility?
Yes, we have had people very young come to us before. The earliest known case of Alzheimer's, they were 27 years old. So we help people of all ages.
Amy, there is any cost to when you go to hospital and evaluate this patient to come to your facility? There is any cost? You ask for the fee, anything there?
Usually everything is picked up by Medicare. If somebody has Medicare, you bill Medicare for their stay when they come to a skilled nursing center. We also take most insurances, and we do have public aid beds available.
So do you talk to their family members, all the pros and cons on that, what is going to happen, how much?
Oh yeah, we will let everybody know. Medicare works in very different ways. Everything's pretty black and white for the most part, so the first 20 days are at 100%, and then after that there is a copay, and we tell everybody about how Medicare works before they come in.
Suppose I am there for 20 days, just idea came to me now, and I go, you discharge me, okay? And then I come back, then you will not charge anything because 20 days again, or no?
Well, how it works is there's something called a 30-day window, and you can come back under Medicare through your 30-day window. And there is a copay, but that's usually picked up by a supplemental insurance.
Good to know that. Wow. Okay, I was wondering that what is the process to apply to your facility? As I said, I am not 65, but I want to come to your facility for supportive living.
Okay.
How I can apply?
How does someone apply? Well, what happens normally is, someone calls or there's a referral out in the community, and our sales manager goes out, or nursing goes out and assesses the person, because you want to make sure that they're appropriate for supportive living. At that time, then, normally they come in and go through the community, meet the staff, meet the different residents. I always say, take a look when you're touring a community. Do the residents look happy? Is staff engaging with the residents? Those are very important things to take a look at. Then at that time, if the person would like to move in, they would fill out the application. After that was done, it would go through compliance. After that was all taken care of, then the person could move in.
Amy, how about you?
Well, we have a very quick move-in process for people who are in emergencies. So we can do it very quickly, or we can do it, at somebody's pace. We move people in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you will get those emergency situations where maybe somebody wandered outside the home or an accident happened at home and they have to come in very quickly. So we can do those move-ins very quickly. But our normal process is very similar to Terry's, where we go out and we do an assessment of the patient. We just have a little bit of paperwork, and then usually, again, the family will come in and tour, and we'll work with them. So we have a very simple, try to keep it easy for everyone.
That's good. And how about you, Amy?
Manor Care of Elk Grove is a very fast-paced environment. So just for example, on average, I might get about 100 admissions in any given month. And at the flip side, I'll probably have about 100 discharges as well. So I'm in the hospital assessing patients, and so are some of my coworkers and nurse liaisons. Most of the time, patients come from the hospital, but I have had patients that have come from home or come from other skilled nursing centers. So it all depends, but most of the times we're in there to assess the patient in the hospital.
One thing I'm wondering about that, if suppose I don't know English, okay? I'm talking to you in English, but anyway. I don't know English, and somehow I want to live there is any way that my language barrier can support me there, or it will be very difficult me to move around in that community?
Well, when anyone moves, there is a time period where, you're getting used to everything. Definitely language is something very important. What we tend to find in our different communities is people that have lived in that area tend to stay in that area. So what's nice about that is a lot of employees from the area then work at our different communities, and they speak the different languages. What's nice, because we do have 11 different communities, we can pull from our different communities. Say if you were talking to someone who, we might not have an employee that's very proficient in that language, we could pull from one of our other communities in the Chicagoland area to help out, which is nice. Thirdly, we always get family involved because you want them as part of the process and just to make sure mom or dad is going to be comfortable there.
Now, I remember one, it is not a joke, way back, ancient time, Farsi was a very cultural language, and people used to go and learn this language. But general public didn't know about Farsi anything, so he came back, he got sick, and he was asking servants, Aab. In Farsi, Aab means water, and he's saying Aab, and in Hindi, Aab, Aao, come to closer, So people are coming closer, and poor guy is suffering for water, so thirsty, and he died. And people say, wow, we were going closer to Aao, Aao, and he died. So how language is, so important. And when somebody is sick, and one thing about that, when people are in that last very senior age or very sick, that time they only remember their native language. Did you notice that? They remember only native language, and they just want to have compassion from that, So that was my question, that do you deal with those kind of situations, or you have any experience on that? There's somebody looking for this native language.
Oh, that happens very often with our community because of the Alzheimer's process. A lot of times, because of your earlier memories are what you forget. So let's say if someone lived in Germany and moved to America maybe when they were a teenager and didn't learn English until then, a lot of times as they regress back in their memories, they're not going to remember the English they learned and only know German. So, language is a very big part of what we do in having people understand. So we'll have things like communication boards where there's pictures that they can touch. So if they want a glass of water, they can have water. Very important for somebody who can no longer speak, who maybe has aphasia or something like that, or has a lot of communication problems in terms of reading. A lot of that happens with Alzheimer's. So it's very important to think about.
We will come back and discuss this thing in more detail, because really language and cultural impact is so important, for especially for seniors, because what we remember and what I hear every day, talking the old days, those glorified days. Thank you. Hello, we are back again. Thank you. Terry, I have one question to you. You are saying supportive living.
Yes.
There is any independent living in your community?
Yes, actually, we have 6 communities which are senior apartments, and those are independent living for age 62 and above. Usually 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. These are folks who are very active usually. A lot of nice community space. They're looking for someone, they don't want to shovel snow or maintenance, take care of those kinds of things. And I think they want the camaraderie of other people their own age to be with. And we have 6 of those in the Chicago area.
Because I hear that people say, before you retire or going to retirement house or independent living, deplete all your funding so your family can have money and you can go live. Community like you happily after. Is it possibility there?
To deplete all your funding?
Yeah, I can give my money to my family and state will take care of me. It is myth or it is
well,
true?
I'm not an attorney, but
no, in general.
In general, well, normally our different communities are rental communities. So our different ones are tax credit. And what that means is there's different income limitations on different apartments. So they're very affordable in the area. And it's based on the average income of the county.
So it means there is no free lunch. I have to pay something. Got it? All right. How about your place?
Unfortunately, we are assisted living, so we're all private pay. What we can help with that is we do take veterans benefits and long-term care insurance policies. So a lot of those kind of things can help supplement the cost, but unfortunately, we don't have public aid in our community. But the nice thing is actually we have a great partnership. We're actually part of ManorCare. So when our residents do run out of money, what we can do is help them then transition to some of the public aid rooms at ManorCare in a bunch of the communities in the area.
So you transfer that person to ManorCare?
Yes.
And ManorCare will take care of that?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, there are many different ManorCares. For example, ManorCare of Rolling Meadows has a dementia unit. They call it their Arcadia units, and those beds are public aid certified. So if somebody has dementia from Amy's community, they can roll over to Rolling Meadows, or if they are not in the late stages of dementia, they can come to Elk Grove as well.
Really, there are so many good, facilities are there, I have, few people at my place, and they don't know or they deny that they are losing their memory, and the word they don't want to use, Alzheimer, dementia, anything, But if this case, if I ask you to come over to Bern, and would you like to, or it should go through doctor to assess them?
Yeah, usually doctors will assess a primary care physician. A lot of them now are doing what's called a mini mental exam, which only takes about 5 minutes, and it's a very quick exam to find out, if you're probably about normal with your memory loss or if there might be something wrong. And then you can go to a neuropsychologist who will give you a more in-depth testing.
What is normal memory loss? Example, give
as
me example.
As we age, our memory just gets worse. Our memory starts to decline at age 20. I always say it's normal to forget where you put your car keys. It's not normal to forget you have a car. So you can see the big difference between the two.
That's a good one. Very good example. Couldn't think about that, So, how about your staff? They are as kind and outreach people as you guys are? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think it takes a special person to work with seniors. You don't get into this business unless you really love working with seniors all day long.
So what is the qualification to apply for job there?
Well, basically, we have lots of different opportunities for staff. In our places, we have, of course, CNAs, which we call LEAs, Life Enrichment Aides, nursing, wait staff, and then, of course, management staff and caregiver staff.
How about you, Amy?
We pretty much have all similar positions, caregivers, nurses. We're always looking for people who are passionate about helping seniors.
And Amy, all nurses are there or some?
We have therapists, we have CNAs, there is registered nurses that are there, and then we have nurse practitioners and doctors that are coming in and out. So we have, a wide variety of different staff over there.
So do you have doctor there 24 hours or just, this time doctor will be visiting house call kind of?
Right. We don't have a medical director. In supportive living, we have a couple doctors that come on a weekly basis.
And your place?
We do have a medical director. Dr. Chabra is from Alexian Brothers, and she comes every Thursday morning. And we also have a lot of great support staff and that are there 24 hours a day to help monitor our residents.
How about you, Bethany?
Our medical director is Dr. Barry Glick. He's out of Alexian Brothers, and we have many other doctors that also follow over at Manor Care. I believe it's around 20 to 30 other doctors that come in to see their patients.
So nurses are there all the time if something comes
Nurses are there 24 hours a day.
And Amy, your place too?
We have nursing there 16 hours a day, but a nurse is on call 24 hours, and then our caregivers are there 24 hours a day.
Is there any way that you have some kind of entertainment for your clients?
Residents? Oh, absolutely. That's a big part of it. We call it our Viva program, and it's not just to take care of the physical needs of our residents, but their emotional and social and spiritual. This is the whole person. And we started this program a little over a year ago. And actually, we kind of do some really nice entertainment out of the box. We took 50 of our residents from our different communities on an overnight camp trip a year ago. And it was so popular, they swam and hiked and fished, then cleaned the fish and then ate them for dinner, and s'mores around the campfire. So we really look at different things. The next summer, this past summer, then we planned 4 trips because it was so popular. Also, we took a group of seniors horseback riding. We don't concentrate on the limitations, but more their interests and abilities. And what I did here is coming up is hot air balloons for our seniors.
Whoa, it's good
fun.
One.
We like to have fun.
I mean, in your situation, because they don't know anything now, or in some way, how you want to entertain?
Well, Art and Course is a very social model, and that's what we focus on is our activity program. We call it engagement therapy treatment, which what it means is we help our residents feel purposeful and engaged in something during the day. So, for example, we have a gardening club where our women who love to garden before can do it in our community and get help along the way. We have a cooking club. We have a men's club. We have a lot of different things to make it very resident specific, very individualized, and give them a purpose for their day. It's not just, you're participating or listening to a singer, but it's very purposeful, and we see a lot of good changes with that.
Bethany, you do that too?
We do many different things with our rec therapy departments. Some of the things we'll do is a fitness class. For example, every Wednesday we have a Zumba class. It's a Zumba Gold class for the seniors. They also do some sort of a planning thing, and they try and cater to all different levels of our patients that are there, not just the short-term, but also the long-term patients as well.
That's good. Thank you, all of you. Really, I'm looking forward to share this information to our community. And also, at the Chamber Barn, as you know, we serve everyday lunch, and now we have started a new thing, Fresh Bar. And come for, fresh food and very good fellowship. We laugh, we talk, and we share joy and sorrow all together. And bingo is in a way our religion, whatever your religion is. So we are really, and the Chamber is the great community, and I am especially so grateful to all our people who are helping here. So thank you all.